the live button for me.
Yes! I don't have a paper bag over my head today. I haven't put on the tinfoil hat, at least not yet. It is a Tuesday episode live here. Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I hope you guys are enjoying the new time slot. We had been doing 12 noon for a number of weeks. We go live 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. every single weekday. I wanted to mention that. I know you think you're crazy, like I'm crazy, like Donna, we're watching you live. I know it's 3 p.m. I have to say that for the people who might be watching the replay later on. 3 p.m., the new time slot. We appreciate everybody who's hopping in, joining us live. We're going to talk not only about the title of this episode, can Tua Tagovailoa save the Miami Dolphins season? Even if he can't save their season in terms of making the playoffs, I think he still has an opportunity to save multiple people's jobs and multiple people's livelihoods. We will get into that. We're also going to talk some Miami Heat. Another preseason W last night. The crowd was lit at the American Airlines Arena. You end the game the way that you did with that 13-0 run, the dramatic game-winning shot. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've enjoyed preseason basketball this much. This Miami Heat team has something special. Brady Hawk from 5reasonsports.com, who usually hops in with us on Tuesdays, will hop in with us this Tuesday, today, at around 3:15 p.m. At around 3:40 p.m., we're going to go very deep on the Miami Dolphins and whether or not the Jaguars are going to be the slump buster for Miami this weekend in London. Stephen D. from Miami Sports Music is going to join us. We love talking shop with Stephen. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, let me remind you guys that we are served by the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. This is the official sports bar of Donno Daily and the 5 Reasons Sports Network. The seafood is so delicious, guys. The fresh fish, the sushi, the oysters, the Maine lobster. It's so good. You get that 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. That never ends. I love the 2-for-1 margaritas. I think that goes really well with the seafood. When you go to the quarterdeck, because they've got TVs, guys, covering every wall. Every game is on at the quarterdeck. You go out there on a college football Saturday and on an NFL Sunday, and you can enjoy Saturdays and Sundays, the 5 for $15 ice-cold bucket specials. It is so, so good, my friends. We're going to have a Miami Heat road watch party at the quarterdeck in Sawgrass, the one near the BB&T Center, November 2nd. So that's coming up. It's going to be here in a few weeks before you know it. November 2nd, when the Miami Heat face the Dallas Mavericks on the road, we're going to be out at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. You're going to meet all your favorites from 5 Reasons Sports. We'll go out there. We'll watch the games together. We'll enjoy the food and drink specials out there. So if you want to peep their menu before you go or find the location nearest to you, they're all over Broward County. Go to their website, quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck. Come for the food. Stay for the fun. We have an official sports book here on Donno Daily, and it's BetUS. Life is back on for sports bettors. Football season in full swing. We've got the NHL regular season starting tonight. I cannot wait for that. The NBA regular season is a little over a week away. You can also bet UFC, PGA, international soccer, MLS soccer, and yeah, NFL. They are in their 27th season of betting on NFL. And BetUS has been around for so long because they're America's favorite sports book. Their clients love them. I love them. Customer service is great. They've got odds on everything. So make sure to sign up. If you haven't signed up already, I don't know what you're waiting for, because people like me, Sean Stanley, Manny Chang, we're having so much fun betting games pretty much every freaking day. There's always something to enjoy, and they have everything at BetUS. So sign up, and if you use our code when you sign up and make your deposit, we've got a deal for you. Use our code, our show code, 5RSN125. That's 5RSN125. You'll see it there. They're going to ask you if you have a promo code. You do. 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. And, we were having a discussion even before the show started. Our guy, David, who's, he's a lifelong Dolphin fan. I think he's like maybe a year older than me. So we have about the same experience as Dolphin fans. We weren't old enough to see the Super Bowl wins. We were old enough to watch Dan Marino dominate for so many years. And now we've seen, the results mediocre or worse for about the last 20 years. And we were talking about what's going to happen in that Jags game. And David writes in, well, what if the Dolphins win, but the Jags make them struggle? He says, even if the Fins win, but still struggle, I don't know if that's a victory right here. Listen, bro, you're in a 4-game losing streak. Okay. You're in a 4-game losing streak. Your playoff hopes are basically on life support. This is the National Football League. This is not college football, a Power 5 team taking on a group of 5 or an FCS team. This is the NFL. Just win, baby. 4-game losing streak. I'm not looking at style points right now. You go into London. I don't care if you win by 100 points or you win by 1 point. Just win. I don't care if you're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars or you're playing Bishop Sycamore. Just win by a point, 10 points, 3 points, whatever. Just win the football game. That is all that I care about this week. In fact, I was looking at the point spread. It's a little early in the week. Maybe there will be some slight movement there. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of movement, but I'm looking at the point spread for this trip to London against the Jaguars. And the Dolphins, even going up against an epically bad Jags team, they're 0-5 this year, guys, and they have a 20-game winless streak dating back to week 2 of last year. They have lost 20 consecutive games, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are awful, okay? The Dolphins are favored in this game, as you would expect, but they're only 3.5-point favorites in this game. Right there, the wise guys, the casinos, the books are telling you they think this game could be close, that the Dolphins are only a 3.5-point favorite in this game. For some recent historical context, all right? You look at the last 5 games, the 5 games this year that the Jaguars have played in prior to this weekend. This past weekend against Tennessee, the Jags were 4.5-point underdogs. So the Titans got a little bit more respect than the Dolphins did. A week prior to that, the Jaguars were 7.5-point underdogs against Cincinnati. Prior to that, week 3, they were 7.5-point dogs against Arizona. Week 2, they were 5.5-point dogs against Denver. So in the past 5 weeks, the Dolphins are the narrowest favorite on paper against the Jaguars. Now, week 1, the Jags were actually favored. They lost. They were favored by a field goal against the Houston Texans, who are awful as well. So they were actually favored by a field goal to open the year. Now, 5 straight weeks, including the one we're heading into, the Jags have been underdogs, and the spread is actually closer for this one than it was for each of the past 4 Jacksonville Jaguars games. So Vegas is telling you, hey, like, the Dolphins should win this game, but we're a little bit iffy on it. My level of confidence that Tua is going to be back and ready to play this weekend, I'm at about 95%. When Brian Flores addressed the media yesterday, he didn't commit 100%. Yeah, Tua's back. He's active. He's good to go. He didn't commit to that 100%, but he was pretty optimistic with the way he talked about Tua being back out there throwing and working. That we know Brian Flores doesn't give you a whole lot of information, right? Bill Belichick Jr., right? He doesn't give you really anything concrete, definitive. So the fact that he seemed to be leaning towards optimistic about Tua playing tells me he's probably going to play. And yeah, so let me get to the title of this episode, and Baby Shaq 569 writes it in. How is Tua going to save the season? He has an opportunity to, okay? He has an opportunity. You look at Tua's career stats in limited work, 10 NFL starts so far, 63.2% completions in his short career, 12 touchdowns to 6 INTs. The improvements he's going to add instantly over Jacoby Brissett, assuming Tua plays this weekend. He is eligible to come off of injured reserve. Tua, as we've come to see, comparing him to Jacoby Brissett these last 4 games, Tua sees the field a lot better than Brissett. He's more accurate than Brissett. The Dolphins do have injury troubles at wide receiver. Unfortunately, that some of his weapons are injured. We'll see about Devontae Parker's status. Will Fuller is on injured reserve, but we know with Jalen Waddle, Tua has a very good rapport with Waddle going back to their college games. Okay, so the question is, can Tua Tagovailoa save this season? Now, I fear, guys, that after a 1-4 start, if you consider making the playoffs to be the benchmark, we're just about too late for that. I think the bare minimum for the Dolphins to get into the playoffs this year, the bare minimum would be 10 wins. And that would be 10 wins in a 17-game season. And by the way, if you could see this this thing on my arm, I had, if you're like, well, what is that on Donno's arm? I had blood drawn today for some lab work. So I still have this little bandage on. I don't want to start bleeding here in the middle of the show. So a bare minimum this year to give yourself a fighting chance of the playoffs is 10 victories. Even that might not be enough if we're being honest here. So the margin for error the rest of the way is incredibly small. You're going to have to win at least 9 of your final 12 regular season games to be in the mix for the playoffs. It's not impossible, though, okay? As I have pointed out, and people have pointed out to me on social media, the Miami Dolphins of Adam Gase in 2016 actually had a 1-4 start to that year, and they went on to make the playoffs with 10 wins. They had a 6-game winning streak they rattled off at one point. So it's not impossible, and the Dolphins do have a more favorable schedule the rest of the way than they've had for these first 5 games. Now, again, if you – G.A. Canes fan says – are you pregnant, Alex? I mean, listen, bro, every year I get, lab work done. They test your cholesterol, various, I don't know, man. I try to get the yearly checkup. I'm not expecting, as far as I know. I don't think my wife is either. Mush got a microchip implanted by the globalists. He's now under their control. Tin Hat's not going to help now, bro. Listen up. Here's the deal. So if you're going to consider this, at the end of the day, a successful Miami Dolphins 2021 season, and I'm not talking about moving the bar after a 1-4 start. How can we succeed the rest of the way? I'm talking about what you would consider a successful season. Sean Stanley, correct me if I'm wrong, but before this year started, you're a Dolphins fan, as I'm a Dolphins fan. Wouldn't you have said for this season to be a success, you've got to at least get into the playoffs? You have to be a playoff team for this to be a successful year, correct?
No, 100%. But now I have tapered my expectations because, like you're saying, I mean, I don't see them going 9-3 just because I can look at their schedule right now and say they probably have 3 more losses, definitely. And then there's some toss-ups, and that's including, you got Baltimore, another Buffalo game, you got the Titans, and you got some others there. I just don't see them. I'm not going to get my hopes up and say, okay, there's 9 winnable games there because everything I've seen, I said the same thing about the Colts, and I've said the same thing, about some of the other games, but I don't see it. I'm just going to be happy with 8, 9 wins, and we'll be happy as long as we figure out what's going on with Tua, good or bad. As long as we can figure out what's going on with the quarterback position, so we know either we have a quarterback, or we know we need to trade or draft or whatever. We need to get some questions answered. To me now, that's what the rest of the season is going to be. And I get it. There's still a long way to go, but nothing right now shows me they would be able to go 9-3 over the next 12 games.
See, I refuse to accept your loser mentality. Because only a loser, and I'm not calling you a loser. I'm calling your mentality a loser. Like okay. I know Sean Stanley is a winner, but you are currently employing the mentality of a loser. If you're changing the bar and changing your expectations after a shit start, I don't think that's fair because, again, preseason and even having played with a backup quarterback for the last 3 starts plus most of that 4th game, the 2nd game of the year. Even with that, I can't really blame Jacoby Brissett wholly on these losses because the play calling has been piss poor. This past game against Tampa Bay, the defense got absolutely torched. It was humiliating. So there's a lot more than go into it.
Coaching, we're not changing anything else, though. So what about what you saw before says, oh, let me get a winning mentality now because
last season. From what I saw last season, if there was any continuation from the momentum of last season, winning 10 games.
From last season, though.
Listen, man, your loser mentality.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And people have said this already over and over. Who's gotten better from last year? Who's gotten better?
That's a great question. Certainly not Austin Jackson.
There's nobody.
Not Xavier Howard.
There's nobody.
Not Eric Rowe. Not Byron Jones. That's a great
Miles
question.
Gaskin's not on the field. Gesicki's not on the field. Those would probably be
Noah Igbenogany. Maybe he's gotten better just because I don't know what he's doing. He's not active on game day, but maybe he's doing great behind the scenes. Tua goes 12. Hold on, pull that one up again. Tua goes 12-0. Must be the defense and the coaching. So real quick, because I do think I know I ravaged his loser mentality, but I do want to pick up on something that Sean said that was spot on. We are going to be evaluating the quarterback play from here on out with Tua Tagovailoa for as long as he gets the opportunity, right? I mean, hey, we're a couple weeks away from the trade deadline. If something happens there, okay. If something doesn't happen there, it's the Tagovailoa show for at least the rest of the season. So even if Tua can't collect enough wins to get into the playoffs, he can potentially save at least 3 people's jobs here, okay? No pressure, Tua. Right? Because if Tua returns, and I think he's going to return this weekend, it's not been guaranteed, but I suspect he's going to return this weekend. If he returns and he looks great starting this weekend against Jacksonville, he can save Chris Greer's job, at least in the short term, because we all know the tenure of a general manager is usually tied to the quarterback that they hitch their wagon to. And 5th overall pick in 2020, for better or for worse, Chris Greer hitched his wagon to the Hawaiian stallion Tua Tagovailoa. For as many times as Greer has failed drafting certain players, if Tua balls out, Greer can use that as ammunition to save his job. Same thing for Coach Flo. Tua could potentially save Flo's job. Now, that's a hard one to digest for me because I think the defense also needs to get dramatically better for Flo to justify his job, because as we talked about yesterday, when you've got a defensive-minded coach and the defense stinks, that's a really poor reflection on the head coach. But yeah, same way the GMs are going to get tied to the quarterback they select, head coaches will get tied, the good and the bad, with the quarterback that they hitch their wagon to, okay? And maybe most importantly of all, this is going to be not only between now and November 2nd, but potentially between now and the end of the season. Tua has a chance to save his own job, at least in Miami, okay? If he doesn't look good over these next 3 games before the deadline, the Dolphins still have, of course, till November 2nd to potentially make a trade for Deshaun Watson. And even if that doesn't transpire by the 2nd of November, the Dolphins will have to have some conversations internally. If Tua doesn't look good from here until the end of the season, if Watson is still available heading into next year, they could think about making that move, or they can always think about, because you could have a number of great quarterbacks, old and young, available, right? Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, you could think about drafting a guy. So Tua Tagovailoa can potentially save Chris Greer's job, Brian Flores' job, his own job. And yeah, if the stars align and we see some miraculous football played over the next couple of months, stranger things have happened. 1-4 start in 2016 under Adam Gase. The Dolphins made the playoffs that year. They had a 1-3 start last year. They ended up winning 10 games. You've got an extra regular season game this year. I'm not completely throwing in the towel on this year yet, but it's looking a little bit grim. I appreciate my guy Cliff. If you guys aren't liking and subscribing to this already, you're doing something wrong. I love you, Cliffy. Thank you. And yeah, if you're watching this right now, whether you're watching it live here or you're watching a replay later on, do us a big solid. And it's not only a solid for me, it's a solid for everybody who works at 5 Reasons Sports. It's a solid, like, for our guys, Sean and Manny, to hit that like button, right? It helps the entire channel. Hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. Baby Shaq writes in, Tua save Flo's job. All right, Flo, start packing now. Tua could probably save his trainer's reputation too, because those perform tweets were lit over the weekend. Let's talk some Miami Heat. Impressed again, 4-0 in the preseason. And honestly, last night, and I wish I was at the arena like our next guest, because I was watching it on TV. The atmosphere at FTX Arena sounded absolutely lit. I mean, Brady, have you ever seen something like that in a preseason game? The 13-0 run, the dramatic come from behind win. That crowd was electric.
Yeah, it was my first credential Heat game, and it felt like a playoff game. I've been to some playoff games, and it was pretty similar.
Wow.
There wasn't a full stadium, but the place was just really going crazy. And it is wild that I think it was down 12 with 3.5 minutes to go. They have their 4th unit in, essentially, and Charlotte had their 2nd unit in because I think they only went 10 deep. It was just a great run. And you look at the bench, the guys are just so locked in. They're so interested in these guys that aren't even on the real roster. They're just a part of the G League and training camp, and they're so engaged in what they're doing. So it's really interesting to see. We've seen guys like that get an opportunity like the one they got last night and end up evolving onto the roster. So obviously Omer's the one that was on the roster, and he really showed out. 8 points, 8 rebounds. There's some moments there, and I think it's kind of embodies what this team is. They're just a tight group. Bam said he told the guys that it's not over till it's over. Like, they're really engaged, and I think that's what this real Heat team is going to embody this season.
Dude, it's like there's something special about this group, and I try not to read too much good or bad into preseason, but I think what we're seeing, Brady, in preseason, it's just a continuation of the positive vibes that we've had, since the acquisitions of the Lowrys and the PJ Tuckers and everybody, and all the good vibes we're seeing from Tyler Hero, who's having an excellent preseason. So it's not like the Heat have had a tumultuous offseason and they're winning preseason games. This is all just a continuation of what we're seeing. And now I want to get into a couple of things you noted in your 5 takeaways piece from last night. Pretty cool seeing Caleb Martin getting the start and doing well. And that's something like it's very Spo-like to manage things this way, where instead of plucking one of his important bench guys, 6th or 7th man, inserting him into the starting lineup, he likes to bring up somebody completely different so he keeps his rotations intact. So how many opportunities might we see for Caleb Martin in the regular season?
Yeah, I think this isn't an indictment on Tyler Hero's play. Like, 3 straight games to start the preseason, he was leading the league in scoring through 3 preseason games. Like, he's obviously a guy that could slot in there, but Eric Spoelstra has been a guy that, just ask Gabe Vincent, ask Max Strus of last season, he uses 2 ways basically as starting lineup replacers. Caleb Martin, he mentioned after the game that Caleb Martin kind of is the closest guy to Jimmy in a lot of ways, because he has the same, he has size, he has quickness on the defensive end. And it's interesting because when he inserts a guy for a certain player, he's not just throwing them into a different role. If you look at the beginning of that game, he was put into the Jimmy Butler role. He was beginning the game with all the starters out there. He was crossing half court with the ball in his hands, obviously getting the matchup with his twin brother, which was cool to see, which obviously factored in. That definitely factored into Spoelstra kind of going that route. It's preseason. They're going to try to see some different things, but it is definitely something I think we see in the future. I think Omer's another guy who could kind of slot into the starting lineup when guys go out. Veteran guys in the starting lineup, guys are going to go out. It's inevitable that Caleb Martin just seems like a guy that's right outside the rotation but can be used. And picture perfect plug-and-play guy for Eric Spoelstra. So it just seems like the perfect fit.
And every because I kind of look at some of the pieces that you wrote before preseason, even before training camp, they age well like prophecies, right? I can remember all the conversations that you and I had about how Kyle Lowry can really elevate this team. And of course, both ends of the floor, defense, fantastic. And just the speed and precision with which he moves on offense is remarkable. And something we've had a lot of conversations about is how Bam can really benefit from Lowry's presence. And we've seen it go both ways, right? We've seen Lowry lob to Bam. We saw Bam lob to Lowry last night. So like the two of these guys are feeding off each other now, Brady.
Yeah. And I think I've kind of talked about, we know what Lowry is. We've kind of seen through these first 3 games what he's going to be in terms of he's going to run the break at a faster pace for Bam to get out on the break. He's going to have the lob pass there for Bam. But the most important thing is he kind of diversified Bam's game here. I've talked about how Bam is basically, he was put into a role last season that was kind of boxed in, but it was necessary. He was only playing from the elbows. He was running a lot of handoffs. There's a lot of screens, but it was necessary because he had to do that to let the offense run. Kyle Lowry being added to this team means that he can kind of be freed up. And what you're seeing right now, Bam even mentioned on media day that he was kind of getting bored from the spots he was scoring from. And I think that's something that really stands out. And you're seeing these preseason games yesterday, more importantly, he's working from even the 3-point line, kind of dribbling in, working into the post or working in dribble moves right inside the wing is kind of where he saw a lot of play. And then obviously the baseline as well, which is something we haven't seen a lot of. It's always been just the same thing over and over. But Bam's the type of guy that you need to just fully let him go because he's that type of talent. And if you want to let this team be the best possible, version they can be, it's letting Bam free and letting him be the guy on this team. So seeing Lowry kind of work both ways, it's interesting even because Bam was a handoff guy. Now Bam's the one receiving the handoffs from Lowry, which is not normal for your center to come off handoffs at the top of the key. So it's like what they're able to do here with this two-man game of Bam and Lowry, because they're actually running a lot of two-man stuff between the two without Jimmy Butler, it's just going to look a lot better even when Jimmy returns.
Yeah, no doubt, and yeah, it's amazing that we've had some unbelievable preseason moments without even Jimmy being out there for most of these games, which is wild. I love the comment section is lit. Keep writing them in, guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, take advantage of the live chat feature. This can kind of segue into the rest of the East right now. I like Big Dan 305's comment. If the Heat stay healthy, they will be in the finals. Yes, I said it. Well, I look at what's going on with the top two teams, or at least two of the top three teams, because I can't put Milwaukee into that, but a couple of the top teams in the East. Let me read for anybody who missed it, because I think one of the biggest pieces of news today, I think the two biggest pieces of sports news today nationally, the John Gruden scandal and resignation. We'll get to that a little bit later. And then also the Kyrie situation now in Brooklyn. And here was the statement from Nets general manager Sean Marks. Given the evolving nature of the situation and after thorough deliberation, we have decided Kyrie Irving will not play or practice with the team until he is eligible to be a full participant, which means vaccinated. Kyrie has made a personal choice, and we respect his individual right to choose. Currently, that choice restricts his ability to be a full-time member of the team, and we will not permit any member of our team to participate with part-time availability. It is imperative that we continue to build chemistry as a team and remain true to our long-established values of togetherness and sacrifice. Because he's obviously he's not sacrificing for anybody. Our championship goals for the season have not changed, he said, and to achieve these goals, each member of our organization must pull in the same direction. We are excited for the start of the season and look forward to a successful campaign that will make the borough of Brooklyn proud. So, translation, Kyrie will not be allowed to join the team until he's fully vaccinated. This is obviously a huge issue for Brooklyn. And listen, from a human standpoint, I'd like to see him get vaccinated. From a Heat fan standpoint, I kind of like the chaos. So, maybe take your time a little bit there, Haas. But so what do you, and between this and then, Ben Simmons is back with the 76ers kind of showing up unannounced. There's a lot of trouble in paradise, Brady, for some of the top teams on paper in the East.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you go down the list right here. I think Brooklyn is looked at as this powerhouse, but even forgetting this deal, you don't really trust them with injury-wise either. So it's like they were never really a team that you were not going to push forward on the version of your team because of the Brooklyn Nets. They're not the Golden State Warriors of a few years ago. They had some flaws, and now you're seeing Kyrie Irving is going through this dilemma that I wouldn't expect him to be back this season. Like, it wouldn't be a surprise if he just retired. And I think people have talked about that. That's something that could easily happen. You move down the line to Philly. That's the best case scenario if you're looking from a Heat perspective. You want Ben Simmons in Philadelphia. Like, if they make a trade and get a guy, they got better without even seeing the trade, in my opinion. Like, right now, that's kind of what you'd want to see. And even if you look at Milwaukee coming off a championship, they've lost key pieces. One of them, Miami has right now. They've lost a guy that really torched Miami in the playoff series, and Bryn Forbes. A lot of these teams have flaws when you're going down the line. Boston's kind of a wild card right now that I think is not getting talked about. Chicago got a little better, but you're looking at a clear route for Miami to kind of be at the top of the East and make a push. And as we said before, they look right now, seeing them preseason, like they could be, a good regular season team, but this team is built for the postseason. So if you can get there healthy, if you have Victor Oladipo, as we said, and I think that's seeing them go 4-0 in the preseason. I feel like less people are talking about the Oladipo factor, but he's still coming back at some point. If you have him on the bench, that's an extra shot creator, an extra defender. This team is definitely going to be built for the postseason. And I think they could definitely make a push. And we were talking about 3, maybe 4 seed earlier, trying to predict the East where they would land. Looking right now, they can make a push for 2.
And the more I think about this Kyrie thing, and I might require the tinfoil hat for this, because when you mentioned Brady that he could very well end up retiring, last year, completely different issues that had nothing to do with vaccination. He was away from the team for long stretches for personal reasons. I almost feel like he wants out, and like maybe for him to kind of go out as a contrarian martyr, like this might sort of be his excuse. Like, instead of just retiring young, he can try to go out like a martyr for crazy people. Like, you know what? If I'm going to retire, I might as well go out in like a blaze of glory and become like a hero to a lot of weirdos out there. That's just me thinking out loud, because I just like, if this was the first ever pattern of strange behavior for Kyrie Irving, I might look at it from a different way. But, there were plenty of times, Brady, last season when I thought Kyrie is looking for a way out from basketball. He doesn't want to do this anymore.
Definitely. And I think that's definitely a possibility. I think we've mentioned before, he's not going to go the line. Like, I think a lot of people were surprised when Andrew Wiggins ended up getting vaccinated, and now he's going to play this season. Kyrie's not that same way. You don't really know what you're going to get. So it's going to be just a different, whatever he wants to do, he's going to do. He's not going to be impacted by whatever's going around the league, whatever is kind of issued out for him to do throughout a season from Brooklyn. I just feel like he's going to do what he wants to do. And at this point, I guess if you look at it, he has a championship. He has a lot of things under his belt that maybe he would be fine with just retiring and kind of moving on.
So I want to get to, before we wrap it up, a question from a viewer. Orlando Green wrote in. He says, I see the talent in Micah Potter and Omer Yurtseven. Do you see them playing meaningful minutes?
Yeah. Well, Adam was calling me Michael Potter, so I'm going to move on from that. Yeah. I don't see a real role for Micah Potter right now. I think, just look at, he's going to be he's at Exhibit 10, so he's going to be probably getting some reps with the G League. But Omer Yurtseven, I've said it before, I think he can be a guy that slots in when needed. Dedmon plays his role pretty perfectly, but he's not playing 82 games this season. What did he play last season? I think it was 16 regular season games, and that's why he was the freshest of the bunch for Miami in that playoff series, and he looked so good. You do not want to play him anything close to 82, where I think you see Omer kind of slot into that backup five, and I think they're comfortable doing it. He's similar in just length, just speed. He has a little bit more outside, and he's shown to be really active on the offensive boards. It's like you're not really losing much if you do slot him in there. And I think where everybody kind of looks at it is if you could put him next to Bam and see what happens, I think that's the interesting piece. Like if PJ Tucker goes out for maybe a back-to-back, he sits out one, and you slot in Omer next to Bam, there's something there to kind of try, and it sounds like an Eric Spoelstra thing. But I can also see them doing something crazy where in a playoff series, they move some things around and throw him in randomly. Like we've seen it before, but I definitely do see a role for him. And I think the longer you see Omer play, the more you kind of see him put it together. In the scrimmage, even that we went to during that practice, he looked a little lost, like he didn't know his role. He seems like now he's learning his role little by little. And if he continues to do that, if he continues to shoot the ball and he's aggressive when he gets it, then I think he could definitely be useful.
I love it. And let me give you one more here. A little birdie tells me Ben Simmons wants to join the Heat. Can we send a case of Hoopina? Which I'm not a fan of. Like, I know people hate me in Miami for that. I don't like those like super sweet sodas. Like I'm not really a fan. So trade all the Hoopina and maybe KZ for him. But okay, I don't know. I don't know what kind of terms he and Jimmy are on. Maybe if not for that, Brady, which I'm sure is a big obstacle, I could see Simmons as being a Pat Riley type of player, but I'm not going to hold my breath for this one to happen.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think the players would go for it. I don't know if Pat Riley, but fit-wise, I don't love it at all. I don't think it should have been next to Jimmy Butler in the first place.
Yeah, true.
And I think I might rather KZ. It's just let's just keep KZ down there and maybe trade him for the Oklahoma City pick back or something and keep Ben Simmons in Philly to kind of mess up the Philadelphia franchise.
So we'll keep all the Hoopina on the shelves here at all your various local grocers. Brady Hawk does a fantastic job. Let people know, of course, I encourage everyone to read Brady's 5 takeaways from the preseason game last night. Do you have anything else in the works this week, Brady? 5reasonsports.com. What can people expect?
Yeah, I just had a piece go up about just where Bam kind of goes on the floor, his new role and kind of how he slots in, how Lowry kind of changes what he's going to be doing in the half court. So that just went up on 5reasonsports.com. And then obviously Twitter at BradyHawk305.
Awesome job, man. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
All right, appreciate it.
Killing it as always, Brady Hawk. All right, in about 6 minutes, we're going to be joined by Stephen D from Miami Sports Music to talk more Dolphins. But it's time, my friends, for another edition of Terrible Take Tuesday. There's a lot of food tweets today. Terrible Take Tuesday is brought to you by our great friends, Mark and his crew at You Break Wheel Fix. I love the way Ethan says it, that they can fix about anything except maybe for the Miami Dolphins right now. You Break Wheel Fix, they can fix your wheels, guys. Mark and his repair and refinishing techs, they've got over 2 decades of experience. They're dedicated to providing high-quality repairs for cracked, bent, or damaged rims and wheels. They get the job done quickly. They get the job done right. They want to keep your car out there on those South Florida streets. They can even give you loaner wheels if you need to get your car right back out there while they're fixing your wheels. And what I love about You Break Wheel Fix, Mark is a big Canes fan. They love South Florida sports. Like I love their passion. It's why they're such a good fit with the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Not only can they repair your wheels, they can trick your wheels out. If you want to get your wheels refinished in Dolphins colors, Miami Heat colors, whether it's red and black, they can even do the white Hot Wheels, which look fantastic. You drive a white car, and those white Hot Wheels look unbelievably good. Inter Miami colors, you like the pink and black, orange and green for the Canes. They will customize your wheels to match with your favorite sports teams or whatever color combos you want. They do an unbelievable job. Make sure you follow them on social media because they post a lot of great pictures on Instagram and on Twitter, so you can see what I'm talking about. Like you get your wheels done at You Break, and you're going to be the talk of the town. Everyone's going to be turning their heads and looking at what you have to offer. So make a call, call them, make an appointment. Tell them Donno and the guys at 5 Reasons Sports sent you at 305-748-0112, or visit them on the web at youbreakwheelfix.com. I've seen some food atrocities, and up until about 2 hours ago when I saw this, I would have told you Halloween is like one of my top 3 favorite holidays. It's like it might even be 2. Like Christmas is number 1 for me. I mean, a holiday where people give you gifts, it's fantastic. I'd say Halloween probably number 2, and then Thanksgiving number 3. But if I look at this now, one of our viewers, Marla, sent me this tweet, and I've seen it getting some traction around various folks today. Candy corn haters are really going to hate this. Yeah, we are looking at candy corn flavored Doritos. Kill it with fire. Get rid of that. I mean, honestly, how many bags of candy corn Doritos do they really expect to sell? Please tell me this is a Photoshop. Like, please tell me Frito-Lay just decided, let's blow everybody's mind by tweeting out a Photoshop candy corn Doritos. I do not know a self-respecting human being who's buying a bag of that. I got to tell you, candy corns suck on their own. Why would I want to make anything else into candy corn flavors? Do not want. Oh, this is awful. Another piece of food travesty. I found this one to be hilarious, though. So Ryan Bailey tweeted this out. If you order, and they have this at multiple different restaurants around one of the most amazing cities in the world, if you order the Americano pizza in Rome, they put fries and hot dogs on it. Hey, how do we you make a pizza for the Americani? You put in the hot dog, put the wiener on it, put the French fry on the pizza. It's wonderful. Oh my God, bros, hot dogs and French fries on a pizza. I like hot dogs. I like French fries. I love pizza. Don't need to do them together. And honestly, I got another hot tip for you, okay? My father's from northern Italy. I've got family over in Italy. I've been there many times. Just a hot tip. If you go to like multiple cities in Italy on vacation, like you're probably going to go to Rome because Rome is freaking fantastic. You're probably going to end up in Rome at some point. Don't order pizza in Rome. Rome is a pasta city. Some of the most unbelievable pastas you will find are in Rome. Cacio pepe, carbonara, matriciana. Like some of the best pasta you will ever have, you will get in the city of Rome. The pizza in Rome, to me, is nothing really special. Like they make the crust too thin and like crunchy. Like the best pizza is the one that comes from Naples, Italy, and southern Italy, the Napolitana pizza, and you can get like in other cities. Like you don't have to be in Naples to get good pizza. Like if you find you can find like pizzerias in northern Italy where people from Naples moved up there and they make it and it's great. But like Rome is not a great pizza city. Like don't even bother with pizza in Rome, and certainly don't get the Americano and get these hot dogs and French fries on it. You realize they're trolling us. So you realize that is Italians trolling the Americans by saying, we're going to throw the French fry, we throw some hot dog onto the pizza. It's terrible. No, don't even do that, bros. Don't even do that. Let's get into some sports related terrible tweets here on Terrible Take Tuesday. Now, this is not the author of this tweet is not who had the terrible take. He actually made a fantastic point. It's our good buddy Alfredo Arteaga from 3 yards per carry. He says, I've seen some say it's been 20 years of failures, talking about the Miami Dolphins, 20 years of failures. But I remember when they were a perennial playoff team, Dolphins fans wanted Marino traded and Shula fired. It has always been this way, he says. Winning will not change this. It's a feature of this fan base. And I'm 37 years old, so I remember the times he was talking about. I remember the mid-90s when everyone was like, Shula, he doesn't know what he's doing. Got to get rid of this guy. We need Jimmy Johnson. Dan Marino's lost a few steps. Get rid of this guy. He's right. Like 20 years ago, Dolphin fans used to complain about going 10-6, 11-5, and winning a playoff game as if winning a playoff game wasn't enough. Now, I would make a minor human sacrifice for a playoff win. I say minor because, like, I'd be willing to sacrifice maybe somebody that I don't like, not like people who are friends and family of mine, but I would be willing to agree to certain human sacrifices if it meant the Dolphins getting a playoff victory. That's how far we've come. But yeah, he's right. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, people used to complain about Shula and Marino, Jimmy and Marino. And yeah, how far we've come. He's right. It's a fan base thing. I see I've offended our guy, Big Dan. Stop the candy corn hate, Donno. Listen, man, I focus on the real deal on Halloween. Halloween candy, I'm focusing on Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I'm focusing on... I like a lot of fancy chocolate. Some of you, you're not a snob like I am. Some of you may not consider this Halloween candy, but give me some of the Ferrero Rochers on Halloween. That's like very fancy, high. Like you drink champagne with those chocolates, but I like those kind of things. But I love Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I even like regular Hershey's bars, and I like M&Ms, peanut M&Ms stuff. But like candy corn is a waste of calories, guys. Like honestly. Yeah, if you're going to eat candy, which is like really high in sugar, it's probably terrible for you. If I'm going to eat calories, I'm going to use those calories on quality candy, not on candy corns. Candy corn Dorito, writes in David, that's a Canada thing, right? It probably is. Like my buddy who co-hosts the Calcio Connection shows with me, Jerry Mancini, he actually works for Frito-Lay, and he lives in Canada, and they've got a bunch of crazy flavors up there. Hello to Marco T. Says, ciao, pizza rustica. Yeah, like in Rome, the best pizza scene is like the snack pizza, like the late night pizza. So that's actually a good call. But when you're eating like actual meals, bro, have the pasta. It is like the best pasta, one of the best pasta cities in the world, man. So no, so that terrible take, it wasn't Alfredo's take that was terrible. It was the Dolphin fan take where he's right. People had been complaining even when they were going 11-5 and winning a playoff game. People were bitching and moaning back then. People are still bitching and moaning now. And how about this one from David Ferrones from the South Florida Sun Sentinel? Bookies.com recently surveyed NFL fans across the country to determine the rowdiest fans, quarterbacks, and coaches around the league. Here are a couple of the results. Miami Dolphins fans rank as the least rowdy fan base in football. And he says NFL fans say Dolphin fans are known for drinking too much. But hold on. The two of those things don't really add up, do they? That they're the least rowdy fans, but then they're also known for drinking too much? Does that mean that Dolphins fans are like really calm drunks and they handle their alcohol really well? I'm not exactly sure what the point is of that, but hey, apparently whoever votes on these polls have no idea. Oh, I like what Mad Cobra says. They drink and then they go to sleep. I guess so. So I would imagine the rowdiest fans. I've never been to their stadium because you couldn't pay me enough money to go to that part of the country and actually spend a weekend there. But in Buffalo, like I have no reason to ever want to go to Buffalo, New York. It sounds like hell on earth. I can eat chicken wings anywhere. I don't need to go to one city just to get buffalo wings. It sounds terrible, Buffalo. But you see what the fans do there. They have those tailgates and they choke slam each other through tables. That is a good time. I consider myself a manly man. I'm not even sure if I'm manly enough for that tailgating scene, right? I mean, I've been out in years past to some Canes tailgates where you do keg stands, and that's a good time. In like Buffalo, they're maiming each other in the parking lot, like they're throwing each other through tables. Drinking and good behavior don't go together, says Baby Shaq. I would tend to agree with that. And one more terrible take, although this is more of a bizarre take than a terrible take. So the NHL Twitter account sent out the last time hashtag NHL Faceoff was on ESPN was in 2003. And then the Seattle Kraken, expansion franchise, tweeted out, we weren't even born yet. And they send you the way too specifically scientific diagram of the sperm cell swimming towards the egg. It's like, bro, I don't need to be back in like 8th grade sex ed here. I didn't need the diagram to explain to me what was going on. And that's not even accurate because that was 18 years ago. You weren't even that close to being born at that point. Seattle Kraken. Oh my God. The raging Dolphins maniac writes in, Donno, come on. Of course we were spoiled. Before the Fins' 10th anniversary, won 2 titles and had a perfect season. It makes sense from that perspective. And my biggest regret in life was not being born about 15 years earlier, where I could have, I wasn't born until 84. If I had been born, let's say 20 years earlier to be safe, I could have enjoyed the undefeated season, 1972. I could have enjoyed the repeat in 1973. Yeah, it's not so good. We're waiting on our guy, Stephen D from Miami Sports Music. I want to make sure I didn't send him the wrong link. So hold on one second, because I might have gotten my wires crossed, Sean, because I was on with Ethan Skolnick this morning, and I wonder if maybe I sent Stephen the link to that show by accident instead of sending him the link to the proper episode. I was a guest on Starting 9 this morning. And let me get your take on this, Sean, because Ethan was talking about this poll that he put up on Twitter. What's going to happen first? The Miami Heat win a championship. The Florida Panthers get to the Stanley Cup Finals. The Miami Dolphins win a playoff game, or the Miami Hurricanes get to the college football playoff. So he's giving like a different handicap to the 4 franchises. Like it's not a championship for all of them. Miami Heat will win a championship, Panthers to the Stanley Cup Finals, Hurricanes into the college football playoff, Dolphins just win a playoff game. Honestly, out of those 4, I picked the Heat to win a championship. Like I think that's going to happen before any of the Panthers are second place, and it's close because I could see the Panthers getting to the finals because I think that they've got a great team, a great GM. Yep. But just I edged towards the Heat only because the Heat have equity with me, and the Panthers don't, because the Panthers have never overachieved. The Heat have overachieved many times.
Stanley Cup, right? They have to.
Yeah, they just have to make it. Yeah,
the Heat have to win the finals, right?
Yeah, the Heat have to win the finals. The Panthers just have to get to the finals.
See, I think that could happen this year. Honestly,
it could.
Goes right,
or they could go out in the first round.
Yeah, but I mean, with the way they're constructed and the way they're playing, again, if Ekblad didn't get injured last year and we didn't have to play Tampa in the COVID, quarterfinals or however you want to call, the way they did everything. I think that season turns out a little differently as well. So I think, honestly, Florida Panthers would be 1, and then probably Heat 2. I probably flip-flop. And then Dolphins in the playoffs, that's not going to happen for a few more years, hopefully. And then the Canes are probably never going to make it to a college football championship game.
Do you know what the crazy thing about that is, though? And I'm not saying I disagree with you because, I mean, they're nowhere close. But
it's a loser mentality. It's my loser mentality.
It is. And I agree with you on this one. But the thing that's crazy about the Canes is, for as bad as they look right now, just 4 years ago, less than 4 years ago, in November of 2017, weren't they ranked number 2 in the country? And that was late in the season. Like they were like that close to being a college football playoff
team. I was there, and you would have thought that they won the championship, honestly, with that win. and then since then, it's just I don't know where it's gone. It's gone wrong. That's the only thing that's gone.
Totally. I see John Lopez in the chat. I titled this episode, "Can Tua Tagovailoa Save the Miami Dolphins Season?" John says, "When is Watson coming?" It's gotten eerily quiet on that front, and I still believe it can happen. And I know that I was not gung ho about wanting it, but I was gung ho about the idea that there are things happening behind the scenes. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about it a lot. I'm standing by what I was told. There are still some people out there who I don't think have the same sources that I do that are trying to say that, yeah, things are happening behind the scenes. So there's still some murmurs out there, but it seems a little bit quiet right now. I wonder I wonder if how well or not well Tua plays this weekend could even influence whether or not negotiations heat up between now and November 2nd.
Let me ask you this too, Donno. With the Gruden thing happening right now, you don't think that might end up hurting any moves? I'm not even saying if it's the Dolphins, if it's another team or anything else like that. With what's happening and the way the Gruden thing is going to hit the NFL, would you go through and let somebody trade and have that come back up right now?
That's actually a good point. That's actually a really good point because, okay, right now you've got a coach, a very well-known coach, resigning because he said over the course of a decade racist, homophobic, and misogynistic things. And then right after that happens, do you really want it in the news if you're Roger Goodell? Okay, so the misogynist, sexist / racist / homophobe. I guess misogynist and sexist are kind of the same thing. I threw in an extra adjective there just to make it even juicier.
They're all good.
Yeah, so he just resigns, and now the next thing we need in the news cycle is the guy who's been accused of sexual assault gets traded and activated. So you might be onto something there. This Gruden thing is wild, okay? Because first of all, you think you know somebody, right? Because John Gruden has been a big part of our lives, right? Going back to when he was the youngest coach in the NFL, coaching the Raiders the first stint, right? And then, you kind of felt like he was a member of your family every Monday for so many years, watching him and listening to him on Monday Night Football. Like you kind of thought, I feel like I know this dude. And now we get this bombshell over the last couple of days. He ultimately resigns for it, that he and his pen pal, Bruce Allen, former WFT president and general manager, they're exchanging emails. And in those emails, Gruden is repeatedly saying, some really offensive stuff, racist, homophobic, sexist. And those came to light out of the WFT front office investigation. And, okay, so for one, I shouldn't even have to say this because I think we can all agree about this. It's bad enough to be thinking and saying offensive things like that. We know that that's bad. But I got to tell you, man, it is incredibly idiotic of John Gruden to write those things on emails. Like, bro, that is so stupid. Have you ever followed various celebrity scandals and leaks? Like, don't you understand? Emails are forever. Okay, they cannot be permanently deleted. Like, you think you've scrubbed deleted emails. If the government or a court order wants to recover, they can recover an email, bro. Like, there's no actual deleting of an email. You put something in writing like that, you cannot guarantee how many eyes will see it, right? Because if you're sending inter-office emails, I guess not inter-office because he wasn't working with the same team, but you're sending emails to Bruce Allen, you can't say for sure if he's got an assistant or secretary reading it, somebody at their office who might intercept. Yeah. And or God forbid, somebody hits reply all when they're not supposed to hit reply all.
And David brought up a good idea. Dan Snyder should have gone down with Gruden. When you look at everything that went with the Washington football team and everything that happened there, everything kind of washed under the rug. But now all this is coming out from it. Do they resurface that as well? Because I saw some tweets out where a lot of people are calling for all emails from the Washington football team scandal to be released.
Wow.
All of them. So, again, the NFL has got a huge issue in front of them. Do you want to compile that by throwing Deshaun Watson in the mix at this moment? I don't. I think Roger Goodell's sitting back there going, let's just hold off on this right now. Let's get through this.
It's a good call.
And then we'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson.
And I got to tell you, man, with this scandal coming out and John Gruden, his stupidity, and again, it's bad enough to think these things and say these things, but to put it on emails, this is how I know John Gruden is not Italian. Like, he does not have any Italian blood, because I got to tell you, an Italian, they always cover their tracks. You will never see an Italian say anything incriminating in print, text, email, even over the phone. Like, I don't know if you know this, Sean. There have been a number of like sports scandals over the years in Italy that have been uncovered due to wiretaps. Italy, actually, there are more active wiretaps because courts and police forces, they use wiretaps all the time. It's very easy in Italy to get like court orders for wiretaps. There are more wiretaps in Italy than in the rest of the European Union combined, right? So that's why Italians know, I'm not going to send an incriminating email, text message. I got to tell you, if I have something incriminating to say, I'm going to tell you in person, and I'm going to make sure nobody else is standing around to hear it.
Yeah, that's when you give them the hug and you pat them down to make sure they're not wearing anything. I watched The Sopranos, so I've watched it all.
That's right.
Yep.
Like Brooklyn Rob says, like Paulie in The Sopranos.
I binge watched.
I don't write anything down. He's right.
I learned so much from it.
So honestly, this is one thing that I learned this week, because I had never traced the man's lineage before. I'm not, he and I aren't connections on Ancestry.com, but I learned definitively when this scandal came out. I said, oh, John Gruden, not Italian. does not have an ounce of Italian blood in him.
Nothing.
Oh, man. So this is, I think this is the right update here, because up until Sunday, despite the fact that they had a 2-2 start to the year, the Kansas City Chiefs were Super Bowl favorites. And preseason, I agreed with it. I agreed with it because, Patrick Mahomes had been in unbelievable form for, 3-4 years in his career before this year. Unbelievable young, the quarterback everyone would want to build their team around. And what was their undoing in the Super Bowl last year was their offensive line, and they addressed their offensive line in the offseason. So I said, okay, Kansas City, clear Super Bowl favorite, off to a 2-3 start, and they got beaten handily at home by the Bills on Monday Night Football. So now, so the Super Bowl odds have changed for this year. Do you want to guess, Sean, who the Super Bowl favorites are now that it's no longer the KC Chiefs?
Well, I got to say Buffalo better be up there.
They're up there, but they're not the favorite. Tampa Bay are the favorites.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I get
it. And Tampa Bay, who just made our Dolphins look like
yeah, but also I think that's the eye test where you saw them beat the Dolphins, but then the Bills actually beat KC.
Right, and the Bills beat the Dolphins even worse than the Bucs did.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're going to go by common opponent, the Bills beat the Dolphins by 35. Tampa only beat them by 28, and they allowed the Dolphins to score 2 touchdowns and a field goal, where the Bills blanked the Dolphins, and that was a home game for the Dolphins.
Yes.
Whereas the Buccaneers game was in Tampa. So honestly, maybe the Bills should be the favorites, but it's the Buccaneers are the favorites at plus 550, the Bills at plus 600. Honestly, I think I'm going to do this after the show. Put a little bit of money on both of them, because it's hard to right now. And yeah, there are other teams in the mix. I'd never count out Aaron Rodgers. There's some value for him.
Yeah, no.
But honestly, like if I can sprinkle a little bit of money
right now, I'm just wondering where
the Chargers are 10th, I think, plus 1,400.
I was wondering if the hotness of Justin Herbert adjusts anything for the Chargers on that. That's what I was wondering.
Well, I guess they're technically tied for 7th, because I think there's 3 teams in a 3-way tie. So
I'm not thinking that the Chargers are Super Bowl bound. I was just wondering, with the way he's playing right now, did that adjust any of the odds? I guess is what I was thinking.
If the Chargers win a Super Bowl, Dolphin fans, we're just going to go into misery hibernation. And we'll never come out. Like the guy we could have drafted just won a Super Bowl. So real quick, it's the Buccaneers at plus 550, which I think there's some value there, plus 550. The Bills at plus 600. The Chiefs are still top 3 at plus 750. Then the Rams at plus 800. Cardinals plus 1,200. Cowboys also plus 1,200. Packers plus 1,200. Ravens, Browns, and Chargers are all plus 1,400. And honestly, I don't want to depress anybody. I'm not going to even scroll down far enough to see where the Dolphins are ranked.
Let us know where we're at. We're not dead last, right? We're not dead last.
Honestly, I cut off. I didn't copy and paste how far down we go, but I'm telling you it's bad. I don't know how bad it is, but I'm telling you it's bad.
Listen, they better have us above Jacksonville. That's all I say. At least until this week.
There's a good point here. Oh, hold on. I pulled up the wrong. This is also a good tweet, but it wasn't the one I meant to put on. When do the Dolphins give up on the Flores experiment? If it's really bad at the end of the season, I can't see them making a change in season. But I'm just saying, like, worst case scenario at the end of the season.
I don't know if you get a couple more games like last week during this season, you might have to make a change because they didn't look like they were playing.
But you know what? You know what's crazy though? Like he's got his assistant coaching staff is so unremarkable. Who would you even make? Who would you make the interim coach?
Well, I mean, honestly, the person I would they got rid of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'd make him a player coach. That's why Flo got rid of him. They're like, you know what? They could get rid of me. Get him out of here.
Like what was Will Ferrell's character in Semi-Pro, where he was like the coach, player, and the marketing director? Like he was everything.
Right? Jackie Moon.
Jackie Moon, that's the one. Yeah, Fitz could have been our Jackie Moon. But yeah, no, I wanted to pull up this tweet. The Raging Dolphins Maniac writes that Buffalo Tampa Bay game in a few weeks could be a Super Bowl preview. We will know who's for real. We'll end it on that note. Huge thank you to everybody that came in and joined us here live. Everybody in the chat. I want to do some shout outs in a minute, of course, but huge thanks to Brady Hawk for stopping by, for Sean Stanley, for Manny Chang behind the scenes. You guys are awesome. Real quick, make sure you're supporting all of our sponsors. The Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. We're going to have a watch party, Miami Heat at Dallas Mavericks on November 2nd. So join us that night in Quarterdeck and Sawgrass to watch the game and enjoy the 2-for-1 happy hour, some great appetizers, great food. But don't even wait till November 2nd. Get out there this weekend, guys. It's the best place to watch college football games and NFL games Saturdays and Sundays. Take advantage of the 5 for $15 ice cold bucket specials. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And guys, make sure you take advantage of our official sports book here on Donno Daily, BetUS.com, full service sports book. If you've never used an online sports book before, BetUS, it should be your place to go. They've got the best customer service. They've got the best bonuses available in the industry. But if you've never used an online sports book, as far as BetUS is concerned, it's basically the equivalent of going into a sports book in Vegas, except on BetUS, you've got it right there on your phone, right there on your computer, or right there on your tablet. Like I think I have like 5 bets in progress right now in UEFA World Cup qualifying. Like I've got action on there every single day. I have such a good time. Sign up with our promo code 5RSN125 to get a 125% sign up bonus. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Huge thanks. I know I'm going to miss some people, so apologies in advance. By the way, please don't get offended if I miss you, because I try to scroll up and look through all the names. Brooklyn Rob, David, Mike Pellegrino is in San Pellegrino. We love you. Mad Cobra, the Raging Dolphins Maniac, Brooklyn Rob, Bishop Sycamore's Finest. That's one of my favorite usernames on here.
And he did say that we could get the special teams coach as the interim, because he's the assistant head coach right now.
Oh, there you go.
About him.
Yeah, that'll be a great finish to the year.
Not that good,
Sam W2, thank you so much for tuning in. Big Dan 305, one of our staples. Perfect Q, thank you so much for getting in. Baby Shack 569, I love that. Jarquez Jones, thank you so much for joining us. Let's see who else. Mr. AC Milan 1111. So we got a Serie A fan, a Calcio fan in here. And what did he say? Because I missed his comment before. He says, I cheer for the Italian national team, as do I, the Raptors, Blue Jays, and the Dolphins. And the Dolphins have caused bad emotional pain to my nervous system. Every friend laughs at me.
He's a Blue Jays and a Raptors fan, and he's upset with the Dolphins.
It hurts, man. I mean, just focus on the Toronto Argonauts, I guess. Focus up there on your CFL team.
Rob has the answer to all our worries.
What is that? Oh, can we get Dan Snyder to buy that? They get Watson and Gruden. Just bring in the most deplorable people you can find. OJ Simpson, bring him in to coach the running backs. We're set. Is Charles Manson still alive? He can coach special teams.
Find him, get him special teams.
Seriously, is Charlie Manson alive or dead? I think he died recently, right?
Maybe he might have. Yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up with Charlie Manson.
We're down a special teams coach then if he's no longer around. John Lopez, thank you for tuning in. Dashust, thank you so much. He says you miss Marino and the 80s Canes in the OB. Yeah, you're right, because I didn't really start appreciating the game. I was born in 84. I didn't really start appreciating it until like around 1990. Big Dan writes in, last live show for me this week, heading to North Carolina in the morning. Have a good rest of the week, Dono. Thanks for another good show. Thank you. And I know Big Dan is going to be in attendance at the UNC game this weekend, Miami UNC. So I hope they do well for you, man. All right. So Marco T, thank you so much. Maurice Simpson. And I'm tapped out. Cliff Esmiel, Irving Figueroa, Brian Fernandez. This is my dude. I haven't talked to this guy in forever. I haven't talked to you in a while. Brian, yeah, please, man. If you're still watching, connect with me, bro. I think you got my number. My Twitter DMs are open. I want to reconnect. This is a good dude, good friend of mine, Brian Fernandez. All right, that'll do it for us. Huge thank you to everybody who took time out of your day. By the way, I do want to let you know, apologies for not letting you know earlier, I'm going to be out of town the rest of the week. At least I'm expecting to be. My wife's kind of sick, so I'm assuming we'll be able to leave town as planned. We're going to take our kid over to Disney for the rest of the week. So I won't be live the rest of the week, but I do plan on producing some content to go up on the YouTube page. Maybe I'll take you guys on some rides at Disney. We'll do something. We'll talk some sports. So I do want to produce some content the rest of the week. We won't be live the rest of the week. I will be back in town as normal this coming Monday. So we're still going to do some stuff here on 5 Reasons YouTube. I just won't be live as scheduled again until next Monday. So everyone, have a wonderful rest of your week. We will talk to you guys later here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.